Is this the greatest Irish whiskey ever? It has spent 21 years in oak. It is surrounded by gold medals, and some would even say that there is a price tag that will make your eyes water. But all I want to know is it worth it? And most importantly, does it deserve a place on your shelf? Let's jump into this episode of the Redbreast Diaries. So yeah, welcome to the Redbreast Diaries. If this is your first episode, welcome. Come on in. If you have been following along with this series, welcome back. Hopefully you've been learning some stuff. But yeah, the Redbreast Diaries is essentially where I just look at the iconic Irish whiskey brand, Redbreast Whiskey. Every bottle I can get my hand on, I taste it, talk about it, and just in general figure out, is it worth the money, or most importantly, is it worth your money, and is it worth a space on your shelf? So yeah, we have a cracking episode today, so let's just jump straight into it. Yes, Redbreast 21. For a long time, this was the oldest Irish whiskey in the core Redbreast range. Some people will keep this for their wedding day. They will save up for this for a long time. This could be their retirement whiskey and never to be opened until that special occasion. It has literally won the world's best Irish whiskey at one point as well. But I'm just going to check if when it's poured into the glass and tasted, does it actually live up to that legendary status? So yeah, let's crack this one open. Beautiful presentation box. Oh yes, look at that. I actually love it. Just wafts open with, like, you know, mahogany and leather bound books. But yeah, let's crack. Oh yes. Let's look at that label. I love the light blue tone in this one, and you can see the Redbreast bird is in full flight there. Top marks for presentation, that's for sure. This must be like a bougie gift to give. So for those who don't know, Redbreast, the brand, dates back to 1912. And for a long time, it was owned by the Gilbey's Wine and Spirits Company. They were set up in London, then they moved to Dublin and brought around this wonderful whiskey called Redbreast. It was part of a trio called, Chaffinch and Yellowhammer, also birds, because one of the executives of Gilbey's at the time was a keen ornithologist, so he called his whiskies after his favourite bird. So this one, for those who don't know, is named after the European redbreast, so the robin redbreast, right? But it's no longer owned by Gilbey's because in 1985 they actually ceased production of Redbreast, and it went dormant for nearly a decade until Irish distillers or Pernod Ricard bought them and brought it back to life in 1991, and thank God they did, folks, because they've been doing a bloody brilliant job with this fantastic brand since then. Now, Redbreast 12 is all about single pot still Irish whiskey. It's really that signature Irish style when it comes to Irish whiskey, and you can see it written here, gilded under the name Redbreast, single pot still. Single just means one distillery, and the distillery that makes this whiskey, right, it's not called the Redbreast Distillery, it's actually called the Middleton Distillery, and it's down in County Cork in Ireland. They also make Jameson and Powers, Method of Madness, Green Spot, Yellow Spot, a few others, alright? Middleton very rare as well, so they know what they're doing in terms of whiskey, and Redbreast is very much one of their creme de la creme whiskies. And the single pot still, single, that one distillery, pot still just means that they use malted barley and unmalted barley in the mash bill, in the recipe, and they distill that 3 times in copper pot stills to get the base for this whiskey. Now, also in the label it says Irish whiskey. Now, to be an Irish whiskey, you legally have to be aged for 3 years. This has been aged for at least 21, so that's good. It also has to be bottled at least 40% ABV or 80 proof. Now, this one comes in at 46%. That is 92 proof. That took me a wee bit too long. So that is 92 proof. So yeah, that also ticks that box. And then it has to be aged on the island of Ireland in wooden barrels such as oak. Now, on the label here, it does actually say triple distilled and matured in the finest oak casks. Now, Redbreast very famously aged in ex-bourbon and sherry butts, and Redbreast 21 is no exception to that. They use first fill oloroso sherry butts for this whiskey. Also on the label it says age 21. Now, 21 years old means that the youngest whiskey in this bottle is 21 years old. There might be whiskies in this that are 22, 23, 24, 25. It could be 40 years in this bottle, but legally they cannot write that down. So in Ireland, we have to put essentially the youngest whiskey in the bottle. If we want to put an age statement, it has to be the youngest. So the youngest whiskey in this bottle is 21 years old. So that's still pretty old, right? 21-year-old single pot still. Oh, molto bene. Now, there are a couple of people that kind of are behind this brand. Middleton's a big distillery, and to get this bottle to where it is right in front of me, you lucky devil of a bottle, it goes through many hands, from designers, marketeers, glass procurement, for example. Then you've got the people who cut the barley from the fields, who malt the barley. Then you've got the distillers, you've got the maturation warehouse, the cask managers, the coopers. Then with Redbreast 12, a lot of emphasis is then put on the blenders. So the people who actually bring it all together. Now, when I say blenders, that does not mean this is a blended whiskey, because it's not. But they blend the bourbon and the sherry casks together to create this. And typically you hear the names Billy Layton and Dave McCabe. They're kind of like the fellas that do a lot of the Redbreast stuff. Every now and again you might even see Billy Layton or Dave McCabe's signature on a bottle, which is pretty cool if you're either of those two, because we love Redbreast, so it's pretty cool to put your signature on that. But yeah, they're the ones who, if you love it, you love their palate. And if it's not for you, well, you know, it's not for you. Alright, there's enough out there. But is this one for you? That's the question today. So let's get cracking. Now, just before I open this class bottle of Redbreast 21, if you're enjoying this series and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. You legend, yeah. Just subscribe. If you already have, you are an absolute legend. You are the reason I do this. You are the reason I drink whiskey. For you subscribing, absolute legends. Alright? And thank you for that. Just, you make my day. Get involved. I actually don't really know many of you. Just write down in the comments what's your favourite whiskey so far we've tried. Let me know. Alright. Back to the video. Also, this is a box fresh bottle of whiskey. So you know what that means. We're going to rate that Redbreast 21 pop. Alright, are you ready for this? This is Redbreast 21 and let's rate that pop. Ho ho ho! That is a pop that comes with age. That is an experience pop. That could be one of the best pops. I must admit, Redbreast pops are very good. That essentially sounded like cartilage was popping. It was just so perfect. I don't know, is that a good thing? I don't think so. Anyway, great pop. Let's keep going. Nice. This has been waiting for 21 years to be smelt and drank. And I'm happy to be the one to do it. Oh, tropical. That is so tropical. It's like Tutti Fruttis on the nose. You know, like those sweets. It's like I can just like smell colours just pinging around my nostrils. Oh, kind of like a tropical pineapple. All right. Then there is some of that oak coming through, but it's actually a lot fresher. It's not super old on the nose. It's quite vibrant with a wee touch of like kind of leather coming through. I suppose now when I go back to it, I kind of think of like an apricot, almost like, you know, they're called owl eyes. Owl eyes. They're like a baked pastry with apricot in it. And it's kind of got that like sort of like baked, crispy marzipan sort of apricot pineapple nose on this. Honestly, it's a very, very luscious tropical nose. I like it. I like it a lot. And those aren't really aromas that you get from every whiskey that you try. But maybe this is coming from the age and the cask choice as well. Yes. This whiskey is so tasty that my mouth actually started to salivate while the whiskey was in my mouth. First things first, right? This is a single pot still, so we would be expecting the mouthfeel, all right? That big, mouth-filling, creamy, oily note. And that definitely is there. Definitely getting some of those classic pot still spices. Some of that black, white pepper. Not huge. Like, they're not massive and roaring. They're actually just like finessed. It's like a Michelin dinner, you know, where they're just using salt and pepper, and you're like, did they even use it? But then you just get it, and you're like, oh, nice. Some sort of honey coming through there. Again, like that natural stuff that you get at the farmer's market. I'm actually getting like a wee touch of menthol, like mint. Just kind of like in the second quadrant of my tongue. And then nectarine seems to be the kind of big finish, along with maybe some dark chocolate. Some of that malted barley, like very, very light. Like if we're talking like a very fancy dark chocolate biscuit, digestive biscuit, is just there right at the end. The finish on this whiskey is definitely long. It's silky. I think you can just keep going back again and again and again. Like, this will be my third sip, and I'm quite excited to see if it reveals anything else. Oh, that time that nectarine that I thought was only on the finish is very much front and centre. Maybe a wee touch of clove in there. That spice is still there. And that honey. Maybe even like a spiced honey, really. Just coming through. It's beautiful. It's rich. Great texture. Now the question is, will this 21-year-old whiskey be better with water? I'm going to give it a go and see. Whoa, it definitely is different on the aroma. Those tutti fruity sweets I spoke about are just like bursting forth even more. Maybe a wee bit more lemony, a wee bit more pineapple-y on the nose now more than before. More vanilla for sure. More of that oak influence is coming out. And actually quite floral, to be honest. Okay, still brilliant. I must admit, that still tastes great. However, I have probably taken it down 10% or so, right? And with that, it's lost that evolving flavour. Now, it's still got a mouthfeel, it's just not as big. It doesn't hold on as much. But what it has actually revealed is like dark fruits, like berries, like a berry compote. That's now coming out a lot more. So the water has definitely unlocked something that I wasn't getting before. And there, just on the finish right there, there was like quite like a nice nutty hazelnut note, which I would probably attribute to that first fill sherry cask. And actually a lot more of that biscuity note coming from that malted barley. Very pleasantly surprised at how well it has dealt with water, but that obviously goes to show how well put together this whiskey is. And in the Redbreast family, very, very different. But is it worth nearly €200 more than the 12-year-old? This can come in anywhere between €220 to €270. That's a lot of money, right? Like, this very much is a luxury whiskey. It is up there with some of the best Irish whiskey money can buy, and I must admit, I actually think it is worth the money. The flavours, I probably didn't do it justice, because the flavours that this is given, even now, even though I've been talking for a couple of minutes, it's still there. And I watered it down, and it's still on my palate. If you're a whiskey connoisseur, or you just love trying new whiskies and you have that money lying around, definitely buy a bottle, because I think the flavours that are coming out of this are special. I think they should be enjoyed, they should be experienced, just so you can see how unbelievable whiskey can be. This is definitely that benchmark for those who believe that, oh well, you can't actually taste that whiskey. Well, you can. In this bottle, you actually can taste these things. Like, is it the best whiskey I've ever tasted in my life? No, probably not. But it's definitely up there with some of the best whiskey I've ever tried. But if you are celebrating that milestone, if you've got that special occasion, or maybe you've just got the best whiskey shelf in all of the West, well then, this needs to be on it. You need to treat yourself to this bottle and enjoy it. Don't be saving it for a rainy day. Pop it open, because the best whiskey I've ever tried in my life. I genuinely remember the 3 best whiskies I've ever had in my life. That's because, yeah, they were great whiskies, but it was the great people I was with that made the memories. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Like I said before, the people who cut this from the field, who brought the glass, who sell it, who market it, who blend it, who distill it. This is all about people. Alright, so if you can't share great whiskey with great people, you're doing it a disservice. Get a great bottle like this, get some great people around, drink it and have a great time, because that's what great whiskey's for. It's been 21 years waiting for you. Enjoy it. Yes, 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 yes. Sláinte.